I'm Sheryl Plouffe. You're watching the Weather Network, and forecast temperatures this afternoon were still nice and mild across the prairies. We've got double-digit values once again, although this is actually not as warm as it has been. Yesterday in Calgary, we reached 14 degrees. Now, the next best chance of snow comes in from a U.S. low that comes in by Saturday night. Could be in the late afternoon for Calgary, but late Saturday and overnight into Sunday is when Edmonton sees 5 to 10 centimeters back toward the Elbow region and southern parts of BC. So a late Saturday event really starts to brew as we look ahead to the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, well, we've got our low pressure system moving across from northern Manitoba with winter storm warnings and freezing rain warnings in place all the way out toward James Bay. We are going to be seeing some snow in the swath, but it is mostly north of the Trans-Canada Highway system. 5 degrees in Timmins for Saturday. Look at the warmth, right? 7 degrees in Thunder Bay, and we're in the mid-teens down toward Windsor. 11 degrees Toronto. Ottawa sits at 7. Now, of course, Atlantic Canada has been getting pounded with storms. Here's Nate Coleman with the latest from Moncton. Is that when sometimes you see people like jumping into snow. We don't know if there's a hydrant underneath. We don't know if there's a mailbox or something that you can actually hurt yourself on. When we take a look at the weather highlights through Friday, we still have sea effect snow continuing. Wind chills here are in the minus single digits, but it's still definitely a little chilly here across Atlantic Canada. A 7-degree reading in Halifax for Sunday. Yeah, a nice warm up on the way. It's going to help to melt, at least start the melt of that snowfall that we've seen so much of this week across Atlantic Canada. Now, we've got a very wet pattern returning for the coast of BC as well as the U.S. coast. California seeing a heavy rain here, the worst storm system in about 6 years for Southern California. Waves of moisture right back into the west coast of the U.S. and Canada in the coming days. Look at Monday. Vancouver, 25 to 40 millimeters of rain is expected. Now, just a programming note that our spring forecast is going to be premiering on February 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And so we are going to be, of course, checking in with our meteorologists, and they're going to let us know what's expected for the next few months. Saturday, jumping ahead to 2 degrees in Halifax, it's 11 in Toronto. 3 for Winnipeg is actually a big improvement because it's been cold there of late. 3 in Regina and 3 in Calgary is a drop in temperature with Saturday's snow developing. Vancouver gets right back into the rain, but showers, I should say, and the rainfall comes more so Monday, where we've got 25 to 40 mils on the way. Here's Sunday, 4 degrees in Calgary and a 10 for Toronto. Yeah, well, it's going to take a while for all of that to melt because the snowbanks are so high, Mark, but thank you so much for that. Temperatures, you're right, climbing to 6s and 7s by the time we get to Sunday in places like New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. But for the time being, now through Saturday morning, we've got a lot of snow still continuing western Newfoundland and into Labrador, seeing the impact of the blizzard that we've been talking about now last couple of days. Been just storm after storm across Atlantic Canada. Now, southern Ontario, we had through the midweek some lake effect. That's gone. Now we've got warmer temperatures on the way. It will feel spring-like on Saturday and Sunday. Mild temperatures building into Toronto, Hamilton, London, and Windsor. Look at the values, double digits on the way. Maybe not quite there in Goderich, but still I think we'll take a 7 on Saturday because the temperatures are going to definitely be above average. Record-shattering heat across the west as well. Another day. Violet Grove, which is in the Drayton Valley or near it, 17.7 degrees was a long-standing record and actually shattered that one for sure. That was the hot spot in the nation yesterday. Looking at temperatures here, mid-teens, Medicine Hat, Maple Creek, and out toward Calgary wasn't. It was 14 degrees, but it wasn't actually a record, interestingly enough, in Calgary, but it was in Edmonton. Precipitation, looking ahead now. Some scattered showers, a lot of overcast conditions this weekend in southwest BC, but then we've got our new low coming in. Bring some rain, initially White Rock and out toward Victoria, and eventually to Vancouver by Monday. 25, 40 millimeters of rain, and the snowfall forecast now. Highest totals north of Edmonton, 5 to 10. Likely more in the range of 2 to 4 south of that through Leduc, Wetaskiwin, and Red Deer. Forecast conditions for this afternoon in Vancouver, 8 degrees. It's raining in Port Alberni. Showers, I would really say. It's 6 and 8 in Victoria, 6 in Kelowna, and out toward Nelson's about 7. Forecast for the freezing levels. Well, if we look ahead, we're going to be seeing through Monday fairly low snow levels. It means some North Shore mountain snow is on the way. We're going to have more details coming up in your long-range forecast right after this short break, including the 14-day trend. The Weather Watch continues here at the Weather Network. Big storms in Atlantic Canada this week, one after the other. Blizzard conditions continue in Labrador and some sea enhancement here for western Newfoundland, parts of the Cape Breton Island as well as PEI. But there will be improvements, and then warming temperatures start to come in as the warm front pushes the snow out ahead of it, out toward the Gaspé. There will be a nice warming trend for Halifax and New Brunswick, so it's going to start to at least help to start the melt of the snow with huge snowbanks there. We've got temperatures Saturday in the teens, 10 degrees, 11 degrees. Now we bumped up to Toronto, 14 in Windsor, and Chatham's nice and mild. Same for Sarnia. It's going to feel like and probably smell like spring tomorrow. That tends to be the case when the temperatures warm up like that. And we'll hear the birds chirping too. Temperatures slightly cooler now, but still above average across the prairies. Temps have been record-breaking this week, in fact. A little bit cooler out toward the interior BC, enough to support some snow. And we'll see the development of a new low-pressure system coming into play, but likely not until Saturday through Sunday. Long-range details begin right now. Very hard hit with the latest round of weather, and now as we look toward Newfoundland as well as Labrador, we're expecting another 10-20 centimeters plus of snow. Some of this is the result of system snow, yes, but also enhancement from the sea as we've got that northwest wind over the Gulf of St. Lawrence at this point. Earlier in the week, we had a northwest flow over the Great Lakes that resulted in some snow squalls. That has since eased since high pressure came into play. But now, as we look ahead to Saturday and Sunday, spring is making an early appearance across southern Ontario, and the temperatures are going to be very mild indeed. Notice there's snow, but it's way up toward the north of Quebec and Ontario. Even Timmins will be rising above freezing for daytime highs on Saturday. We're at 7 in Thunder Bay, 7 in Goderich, 11 in Hamilton and Toronto, and even into the mid-teens further south. Having said that, we hit the streets to ask you what your plans are for Family Day coming up. There you go, and lots of sunshine is ahead as we take a look at Monday. 9 degrees, Family Day, Windsor, 5 in Toronto, and a 1, breaking records in the west. Maple Creek was the hot spot in the nation midweek. It's 15 degrees. It was 15 degrees yesterday, broke another record, and it is shattering records. I mean, this one stood from 2002 at 12 degrees. It was 17.7 in Violet Grove, Drayton Valley, the hot spot in the nation yesterday. And precipitation, now we look ahead. We don't have much going on for southwest BC with some cloud cover, yes, some scattered showers, but the bigger rains are going to be had more so Monday. We get back into the rain in Vancouver and in Victoria likely too as the system comes in. Snow develops in southern BC, and then we're also going to see a bit of snow in Calgary and Edmonton. Late Saturday through Sunday could result in 5 to 10 centimeters north of the capital region through Sunday, and then trace amounts from Red Deer south down toward Lethbridge. But on the BC side of the Rockies, in the Columbias, in the Kootenays, and in the Rockies in general, we're going to be looking at some higher totals of snow. Forecast conditions for this afternoon: 8 degrees in Vancouver, 6 in Kelowna, 8 in Victoria with overcast conditions. We've got your local forecast and long-range details coming up shortly. All right, thanks so much for that, Deb. Let's take a look at what is happening weather-wise across the west. We take a look at a low-pressure system, but it's coming in from the south. It's coming in from the U.S. in this case. It will spread some snow, likely by midday, late day in Calgary, seeing some snowfall, and then out toward Edmonton, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow will develop. Late day Saturday and into Sunday is when we'll see that. Southern parts of BC see rainfall, rather snowfall as well. Southern prairies, temperatures still are trending above average. We've got our snowfall over northern Manitoba, winter storm warnings and freezing rain warnings with that. And then maybe even extended out toward northern Ontario, out of Wapiskat and James Bay, Moosonee and Moose Factory seeing that snowfall. Otherwise, if you go further south of that in Thunder Bay, it's nice and mild for Saturday. We're at 7 there. It's pretty mild. Double digits in the south as well. Let's turn it over to Mark Robinson, though. He is literally up to his neck in snow. Okay, is that a promise, though, Mark? It's a promise. Spring forecast, 9 p.m. Eastern on February 27th, and our meteorologists and experts are going to weigh in on what's expected for the spring season. Right now, we know it's not feeling spring-like across Atlantic Canada because we're still contributing to wind chills and also some sea effect snow continuing. Cape Breton, out toward PEI and out toward les Îles de la Madeleine and western parts of Newfoundland. Now, in terms of temperatures, yeah, it's a little chilly for now, but look at the nice warming trend that's on the way. This is jumping ahead now to Sunday, where we rise to 7 degrees in Halifax. That's going to help to start melt the snow that's on the ground. 4 in Moncton and 6s in St. John and Yarmouth. St. John's, Newfoundland sits at 2. Back toward the west, we still see wet weather returning. Biggest storm in Southern California in about 6 years, giving them a lot of rain today. But there's going to be a deep trough and waves of moisture directed right at the west side of the continent. And with that, a lot of rain on the way once again Monday for Vancouver. Looking at 30, 40 millimeters of rain by then. Saturday, midday Calgary snow. Edmonton gets it a little later on in the day and into Sunday, where we'll see about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Sunday's temperatures, we're a little bit cooler than we've been across the prairies, but still above average. And 10, yes, you heard that right, 10 degrees in Toronto. But it is, of course, it's been a week of just storm after storm after storm. What we're talking about here is a low pressure system still bringing quite a bit to Labrador. Blizzard conditions continue there, and some sea effect snow also through the Gulf of St. Lawrence and out toward PEI and Cape Breton. But some improvements will be had gradually through the day on Saturday, and the temperatures will start to climb. So that will be overcast and cloudy, I think, for the bulk of the weekend ahead. Precipitation is, it's still scattered and showery here, but we're not going to see much in terms of rain until about Monday, and that's when we see another 25, 40 mils of rain. It's a low pressure system coming in from the south and from the U.S. through Washington State and Idaho and Montana. And with that, snow develops in southern BC, also in Alberta. Calgary sees a few centimeters, but this will be more of an accumulation north of Edmonton in the range of 5 to 10 centimeters ahead. The temperatures have cooled slightly, but they're still above average, and we expect that to be the case for the next many days. The cold, of course, is way up toward the north and for the most part north of 60, but cooling slightly, still above average. And we can see here as we take a look at our satellite, here's Los Angeles. Southern parts of California are going to get inundated with rain. We're talking about really one of the strongest, if not the strongest system that we've seen for Southern California, particularly over the last 6 years. Of course, in the north, we know that we've seen a lot of rain of late. It's caused a lot of problems, yes, but it's also helped to alleviate the 5-year drought in northern parts of California. There's the cumulative rainfall forecast as we look ahead to the next 7 days. It's almost too much of a good thing with over 200 millimeters of rain expected once more. The next prairie system is going to be coming in, and we've got rainfall with that through northern Ontario, even out toward Winnipeg, temperature above freezing. Snow on the back side of that low pressure system way up toward the north in Thompson and Gillam, Manitoba. And a lot of electric vehicles, of course, on display too. Forecast temperatures Saturday, 14 in Windsor, it's 11 in Toronto and Hamilton, double-digit values. Yeah, you're going to want to take a spin. Might even take the top down. It's possible. Toronto is 11 on Saturday. It's 7 in Vancouver. The top will be up because it'll be raining and showery. St. John's sits at 0 and 2 degrees in Halifax, 3 for Montreal, and 3 degrees in Winnipeg tomorrow. The temperatures are eventually going to be warming up across eastern Canada. For this evening, Halifax still sitting at -2. The snow is easing gradually for St. John's, but blizzard conditions in Newfoundland and Labrador. -6 in Montreal, a -1 in Toronto, so still some coolish air. However, we are going to see some big improvements across the east, but it won't be quite as warm as it will be in Florida. If you're vacation bound, we've got temperatures sitting in the high 20s for Saturday.